الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له اشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا يا رب العالمين. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we praise Him Azza wa Jal, praise blessings. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us His pleasure in this worldly life and hereafter, Allahumma ameen, and to grant us al-hayat al-tayyibah, the good life that we are seeking for in dunya hereafter. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen, and to all Muslims all around the world. Coming back to the explanation of the beautiful booklet of Shaykh al-Sa'di rahmatullah alayh, al-Wasa'il al-Mufid lil-Hayat al-Sa'ida, the beautiful or the beneficial means to a happy life. And we reached to the part of this booklet when the Shaykh rahmatullah alayh, he mentioned the example that the people, they have the Iman and the faith, and that gives them the good life, one of the first thing. And he mentioned for that the example of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, عجبا لأمر المؤمن إن أمره كله خير إن أصابته سراء شكر فكان خيرا له وإن أصابته ضراء صبر فكان خيرا له وليس ذلك لأحد إلا للمؤمن. فأخبر صلى الله عليه وسلم أن المؤمن يتضاعف ظلمه وخيره وثمرات أعماله بكل ما يتركه من السرور والمكاره. This is the same words that we start at, and inshallah ta'ala, because it's very important, we're not gonna take from the booklet, but actually it's gonna be the explanation of this when we stop, because it's very important, and the Shaykh is gonna mention that all over his booklet. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that the affair of the believer is certainly wonderful, and all his affairs are good. When he's touched by ease and affluence, good things, he is thankful, and that is good for him. And when he's touched by suffering, he is patient, and that is good for him. And this is only for the believer. And then he mentioned and said, the Prophet ﷺ, the Shaykh mentioned, informed us in this hadith that the good of the believer and his gains and the excellent benefits of his deeds are multiplied several fold in all the things that befall him, be they pleasant or unpleasant. Regarding this hadith, anything happens to the believer, it's good for him, be that pleasant or not pleasant. And the Shaykh, the Shaykh who explained this booklet, may Allah preserve him, he says, being balanced in the times of good and ease and in the times of times of affliction, times of suffering, times of difficulty, it's one of the most important things, or most of the important means of reaching happiness in this world of life, being balanced. And this says that the Shaykh is going to talk about that mostly in this book, the most important thing. That's why Shaykh has decided to have to talk in details regarding that and to explain that in here, in order that the person, when he prepares himself to be balanced in the ups and downs of life, in the situation of good and easiness and health and wealth and everything, at the same time the situation of difficulties and suffering, who does that? Only the most completed from the people, the most completed and the most perfected from the men in this creation that Allah Azza has created. Because as we know, the mankind in this worldly life, he has his ups and downs in this worldly life. Person could be tested with faqr, poverty. And at the same time, and not only, he can be tested with a good share and portion of wealth from this worldly life, from anything. Or he can have health, good health, and all the faculties that Allah has given to him, mashallah. Or another time, he can be afflicted by disease or whenever you become, the person will reach the old age. You're not more young anymore than you were before. And because of the old age, you become weak. Or, for example, the person can gain a lot of power because of authority, because of a good job and a government, for example. And he could gain fame. And the opposite person can be taken out of that job, can be fired of that job. And right after he gained fame and becomes weak. So all of these things that we mentioned are just examples, and all of these they have an impact in our own selves. They have an impact in our own selves. Poverty can make the person to become weak, to become humiliated, can bring a person to become a submissive person, like a slave of others, and makes that bigger person to be obedient to others and be like a slave to others. And the other side, richness and having wealth can make a person to become a person who like very mean, because he becomes arrogant to the others and changes his akhlaq and his character. That's what they used to say. Man anana istatal. Man anan or manan istatal. Whoever won things or whoever gained things, meaning authority, money, and anything that you gain from this one, istatal, he will be what? He will be arrogant to the others. وقال بعضهم فإن تكن الدنيا أنالتك ثروة فأصبحت ذا يسر وقد كنت ذا عسر لقد كشف الإثراء منك خلائقا من اللؤم كانت تحت ثوب من الفقر. Subhanallah, beautiful poetry. Said, if this dunya make you earn wealth, فأصبحت ذا يسر, and you become like a person who everything is made easy on him, while you were not. It was not easy on you. It was hard before. لقد كشف الإثراء, that this wealth that came to you actually discovered some akhlaq or some characters from the meanness that you were so mean, but you didn't know, because the poverty had covered before. The poverty, because you are poor, you're not showing arrogance to the people. But now that you become rich, now you're showing the arrogance. So we didn't know that what with this bad character you had before, because of the poverty that you had. And the other thing, for example, is that the example of the marad and disease. When you become sick, your character changes. It's something natural. Maybe not the same character that you had before becoming sick. It's not. You cannot. You cannot bear things or words than you used to bear before becoming sick. The same thing when you become old. You reach the old age. Your nafs, your soul, may become weak as your body becomes weak. When you're young, you are strong in iman, in faith. You might have strong iman when you become old at age, but maybe you don't have that power and strength of youth that you used to overcome the challenges, and you used to overcome the shahawat and desires. Now you become weak, your soul becomes weak, and your body becomes weak. The same thing. If you become, Allah Azza wa Jalla gives you the ability or a power to be an authority, to have a governor, for example, position, then you may change the akhlaq. You may not treat your friends as you used to treat them before, because now you have authority, now you have faith. Same. That's why I say, من تاه في ولايته ذل في عزله. The one who becomes proud during his governorship, meaning during that his authority, that he has a position of authority, he will be humiliated when he's fired from that position. Why? Because nobody's going to care about him after that. Yahya ibn Hakim used to say, "Wallahi laqad wuliya al-Hajjaj wa ma Arabiyyun ahsana adaban minhu." Al-Hajjaj, Hajjaj was the governor of Iraq. Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. He said he became the governor of the Iraq. That and nobody was better than him in moral and character, and even in the talking and poetry. فطالت ولايته, and he stayed for a long time as a governor. فكان لا يسمع إلا ما يحب, because he stayed for a long time. He would not hear anything else except things that he liked, because he was very harsh. And nobody would dare to say anything wrong, otherwise his head will be chopped off. So obviously people, what they're going to say? They're going to praise him. They're not going to criticize him, otherwise they don't get killed. So he didn't hear anything. And obviously the person is praised. Oh, what happens to him? The person starts to like himself and becomes proud. So and he had and he passed away, and he was foolish, like stupid, with a bad character. He started with a good character. Very good, was well known from among the Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. The same thing, the opposite of that is the person, he was in a position of that governorship or anything from the authority, and then he was fired one day. That the person, his character, maybe he was good, his character will change. His chest will be tightened, either because he regrets, or he thinks now, oh, I was in that position, or that I had all that money, all that power, everything was under my control. Now I am nothing. So he regrets that, or he has no sabr. He has no patience. So the character changed. Same thing with the person, he was famous. He reached fame and he became famous person. And now everybody knows him. Maybe he will become arrogant to his friends. Imagine a person you used to go to school together, and now he becomes somebody well known in the government, someone very, very well known. He's fame or YouTuber, whatever, he has the fame, and then he doesn't talk to you anymore as he used to do. Oh, do I know you? No, I remember a long time. We were good friends, best friends. No, it changed. The person changes, subhanAllah. And then kursi and the fame and the chair, they say, not this chair, the other chairs. So alhamdulillah, I'm still with the old-time chair. Alhamdulillah. So the chair, they say the kursi, or the position, the authority, the fame changes people. Illa marhamullah, except Allah has mercy on them. So that they say it is good for the person who is a high ambitious person, like he has a high ambition, a person who has high dignity and moral character, and the one who wants to be happy in his worldly life, to prepare himself to be able to balance in the times and circumstances of good and ease and the circumstances of difficulty. You got to bear that, because if you really want to know how to reach the happiness in dunya, in your life. This is what the Shaykh said. This is from the Dalail al-Iman. This is from the signs of Iman and faith. It's a sign from the intelligence of the person. And it's from the foundation of the high ambition, and from the manifestation of manlyhood, manifestation of chivalry. A person who is really a man of good character and an honorable man. This, if a person knows how to deal and he is balanced while he is in the times of good and ease and time of difficulty. Allah Azza wa says about this, ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم والله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the cure for our hearts. And it's the cure for every single action that we do in this worldly life. And it's the guide for us in dunya and hereafter. What Allah says subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is no calamity or blessing. Because musibah could be calamity or blessing. There is no calamity or blessing that happens in the earth or in your own selves, except that is written in a record, in a book. من قبل أن نبرأها, before we bring it into life. Obviously, Allah Azza wa Jal, when He wants something to happen, He has written it. He wanted, He wished it, He willed it. Then Allah Azza wa Jal, He wrote in the book. So then Allah Azza wa Jal bring that into existence before it happened. إِنَّ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرٌ. Indeed, that it is easy for Allah. لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم. So we say that to the people to know, to not feel grief over what you missed. Something happened. قدر الله ما شاء فعل. يعني Allah Azza wa Jal, this is the qadr of Allah. Whatever happened, happened. That's it. Don't cry over spilled milk. That's what the Americans say, or the English. Don't cry over spilled milk. It's done now. خلاص. قدر الله ما شاء فعل. لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم. And don't boast. So you don't boast, and don't be arrogant, or don't be proud. Whatever you have, Allah granted you. Alhamdulillah, He granted me wealth, He granted me health, He granted me power. Then now I become boasting on others? No. Wallahu la yuhibbu kulla mukhtalin fakhur. Why? Because Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't love any arrogant boastful. Allah doesn't love and doesn't like any arrogant boastful. Another ayah, Allah Azza wa says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Maybe you might dislike something and it is better for you, or you like something and it is good and it is bad for you, and Allah knows and you don't know. قال ابن الجوزي رحمه الله عليه, ابن الجوزي, not ابن القيم الجوزية, ابن الجوزي رحمه الله, from scholars well known, he said, فمن تلمح بحر الدنيا وعلم كيف تتلقى الأمواج وكيف يصبر على مدافعة الأيام لم يستهول نزول البلاء ولم يفرح بعاجل رخاء. He said, the one who tried the sea or the ocean of this dunya, he just took a glimpse from it. He tried, he experienced. وعلم كيف تتلقى الأمواج. He knew that how he can deal with the waves. You know, when you learn how to swim, the first time you don't know how to deal with the wave. A couple of times you know how to deal with the wave, to overcome that wave in the Bahr. So, but here is what he's talking about, the Bahr al-Dunya, how to deal with the situation in this worldly life. وكيف يصبر على مدافعة الأيام, and how he knew how to be patient in challenging or in fighting the days, and how to deal with everything. One day good, one day bad, as it is. لم يستهول نزول بلاء. If he knows that he learned, and he became experienced in this worldly life, it doesn't look terrible to him if any bala happens, any musibah, any calamity happens to him. It's not so huge and big. Why? Because it's not the first time he dealt with it. وَلَمْ يَفْرَحْ بِعَاجِلِ رَخَاءٍ. And he does not become arrogant or proud because Allah gave him something from the goodness and ease. Why? Because now he's a professional. He knows how to deal with this worldly life. And some of them said, تجري الأمور على حكم القضاء وفي طي الحوادث محبوب ومكروه وربما سرني ما كنت أحذره وربما ساءني ما كنت أرجوه. Allahu Akbar. That Arabic language and poetry is so beautiful. It says تجري الأمور, that the things happen with the judgment that Allah has decided. وفي طي الحوادث محبوب ومكروه. And inside of the events happening, there is something you love or something that you dislike. Things happen to you. وَرُبَّمَا سَرَّنِي مَا كُنْتُ أَحْذَرُهُ. Maybe it will make me happy something which I disliked, like the ayah. وَرُبَّمَا سَأَنِي مَا كُنْتُ أَرْجُوهُ. Or maybe it will make me like feel bad, something that I used to hope to have it. Why? Because Allah Azza made that Allah knew that was not good for you. So that's why said the person who has a high ambition and he is a real man with good character, the blessing doesn't make him arrogant. Having a blessing that Allah has given doesn't make him arrogant. And the calamity does not make him lose hope. And having a governorship or having a position or authority doesn't make him go into vanity, like fake glory. And being fired from that position doesn't make him feel regret all the time and depression. Why? It's that. And his wealth, if Allah gives him wealth, doesn't make him proud. And the faqr and the poverty doesn't make him go into slavery or depression or going to humility, because he knows how to deal with that. That's why one of the poets, he praised the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala that said about them, لا يفرحون إذا نالت رماحهم قوما وليسوا مجازيع إذا نبنيهم. Said the Sahaba radiallahu, they are not happy if they won over people in the battlefield or something. If they won over these people, they're not boasting and showing that they are arrogant. At the same time, if they are defeated, they don't lose hope and they don't lose the sabr and the patience that used to say. قال سالم بن قتيبة ما تكبر في ولاية إلا من كبرت عنه ولا تواضع لها إلا من كبر عنها. الله أكبر. Said there is no one who had the position of governorship that he becomes arrogant except that the wilaya is greater than him, meaning that he's a low person, he's a mean person. That's why he wants to have that all of his life. He wants to have that position and authority all of his life, and becomes arrogant. I got you. And there is no one who is humble when he has that position or authority, except the one who is greater than that position. He as a person is bigger than that position. His heart is bigger. His character is higher and greater than that position. His position is nothing for him. He said, another beautiful word said, there is في كتاب كليلة ودبنة, it's a beautiful book in Arabic about talking about fables, no? Stories of the animals, and you learn wisdom behind it. Said, ذو العقل لا تبطره المنزلة والعز كالجبل لا يتزعزع وإن اشتد به الريح. The person who is intelligent, that he does not become arrogant because of the position and dignity, is like a mountain that is not shaken even if there is severe winds. Can the mountain be shaken by the severe wind? No, it's only zilzal, only the earthquake. But winds doesn't matter. The mountain is not shaken. Said والسخيف يبطره أدنى منزلة كالحشيش يحركه أضعف ريح. Said, and the stupid, the foolish person, that he is become arrogant with a little position. He becomes, let's say, just he can hold a small position only because he has 2-3 people under his command or under his control, and then he thinks that he's the president of the United States. Everybody is control. This is the foolish person. Said he is like a grass that the weakest of the wind, it will make move here and there, the weakest of the wind. So this is how the description. He said some of the hukama, the wise people, talked about خلقان لا أرضى اختلافهما تيه الغنى ومذلة الفقر. 2 characters, I don't like them to have it. تيه الغنى, pride from wealth and from richness, ومذلة الفقر, and humility because of poverty. فإذا غنيت فلا تكن بطرا. If you are wealthy, do not become proud. وإذا افتقرت فتيه على الدهر. If you are poor, you reach the poverty, فتيه على الدهر, and you become doing that all the time, or the time you become proud or the time. واصبر فلست بواجد خلقا, and be patient because you will never find a character which is closer to al-faraj min as-sabr, which is closer to relief than the sabr, the patience. Be patient because you'll never find a character and something that you need to have it, that which is closer, who brings relief to you than the sabr and the patience. And if you are to read and go deeply in the seer and the biography of the ulama, the great people from the Salihin, radiallahu ta'ala anhum, you'll find that they have this character that they use to balance their life in the times of easiness and good and times of calamity. Umar bin Abdul Aziz, that was called as Khalifa al-Khamis, the fifth Khalifa, radiallahu ta'ala wa rahmatullah alayhi. He used to say, أصبحت والسراء والضراء مطيتان على بابي لا أبالي على أيهما ركبت. I on the every day, I am in the morning, I wake up in the morning, and the goodness and ease and the suffering for me are like two riding animals, like two horses. I don't care which one I'm gonna mount. Yani I don't mind to be in the suffering, or I don't mind to be in a blessing. Everything is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I used to say, أصبحت ومالي سرور إلا في انتظار مواقع القدر إن تكن السراء فعندي الشكر أو تكن الضراء فعندي الصبر. Allahu Akbar. Wallah, these words are amazing. Is to say, I wake up and I don't have any other happiness more than waiting for the position of the qadr, waiting for the qadr to happen. This is my happiness. Whatever happens. In takun sarra, if something is good, then I will have what? Shukr. I will be thankful to Allah Azza wa Jalla. But if something it happens from the qadr, which is darra, yani affliction or calamity or hurt or harming, or from me, I will have some. I'll have patience. So that's why the words of the Prophet ﷺ, the believer is between what? Patience and between sabr. And he said the truth. And he was, radiallahu ta'ala, kana shakiran sarra'i. He was grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal for his blessings. He was beautifully and strongly and being patient during the darra and the affliction and the difficulties. He was very humble in his biography, as we know. He was forbearing. He was forgiving and pardoning people. And the fact that he was the Khalifa didn't make him become arrogant and with his self-deceit and vanity. And the fact that he's lost his Khilafah after he left the Khilafah didn't make him to regret that. For 2.5 years almost that he was a Khalifa, there was no need except that was fulfilled to the whole people and under his Khilafah. And himself, he had nothing. He had nothing. Even his own kids, they used to tell him, to ask him, we don't have new clothes and new clothes for Eid. Rahimahullah wa radiyallahu anhu. Because that's a Khalifa. Everybody, no people that the zakah was paid. That's it. There was no person to receive zakah. There was no person. They gave to the people, to the youngsters to get married. There is so much surplus. Might be the first time that not only khilafah in the world that happened, that you have that so much surplus. Everybody's need was fulfilled. Why? Because of the justice that he was, and that he was balanced in his life. Radiallahu ta'ala. It was said to Ahnaf ibn Qais. Al-Ahnaf ibn Qais, well known, rahimahullah. Ma ahlamak. How forbearing you are. He said, تعلمت الحلم من قيس بن عاصم المنقري. I learned this forbearing that you see with me. I learned from Qais ibn Asim al-Manqari. I was sitting in front of, or next to him, in his, like close to his house. He was wearing something like abaya here and sitting like the Arabs, they used to sit like this. Just sitting, they're wearing that abaya and sitting in his house. And was brought to him two people, one dead, the other one, that his hand, the other guy was caught and his hand were folded. And it was said to him, this is your son, and this is your nephew, your nephew, yeah, your nephew. He killed your son. The nephew killed his son. فوالله ما حل حبوته حتى فرغ من كلامه. He didn't move until he spoke what he had to speak. he said to his other son, قم فأطلق عن ابن عمك. Because he killed the cousin, so that's why they caught him to be put, obviously, here will get the qisas. So he said to his son, stand up and untie your cousin. واري أخاك, and go and bury your brother. وَاحْمِلْ إِلَىٰ أُمِّهِ مِيَةً مِنَ الْإِبِلِ, and go send to his mom 100 ibil, 100, what's the diya, you know, as we talk about, the 100 camels. فَإِنَّهَا غَرِيبًا. Now, and she is like obviously in this situation, the son is dead. And then he spoke about like a poetry. Obviously, that's hard to translate that poetry. He said, but then he talked to the guy who killed his son. قتلت قرابتك. You killed your relative. وقطعت رحم. And you severed your relative or kith and kin relationship. وأقللت عدوا. And you have made less from your enemy. لا يبعد الله غيرك. May Allah Azza wa Jal may not how can I say لا يبعد الله غيرك. Huh? لا that will not keep you far. لا يبعد الله غيرك. هو ما راح يختص. ما راح يختص منه. لا, he forgave him. He forgave him because you see, told his son, leave him, and untie him. أطلق, untie him. Anyway, so he said, imagine if a person comes and obviously he's his relative, but he killed this, and then that he forgave, he pardoned that. He did all of this. He didn't move. He said, I learned that forbearing from this man. These people, it's hard to be that person. I remember now that brother that somebody killed his son in New York, I think, subhanAllah. That was a really great man, forbearing brother, that he forgave. That was not Muslim, the guy who killed, that he was delivering pizza. SubhanAllah, and he forgave him there in the court. Forgave him and asked that it's shaitan that make you to kill my son, not you. And I mean, I ask Allah Azza to guide that person, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do that, and he did that. May Allah Azza wa Jalla reward that brother. SubhanAllah. So that was an example of that. But actually, and obviously, the best example, we conclude with that, inshallah. The best example for us is who? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He has, in his seerah, he has given us the example of the best, how to deal in the times of easiness and how to deal in the time of difficulty, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. In his da'wah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he did not deviate from the right path. How was his life, sallallahu alayhi wasallam? How he lived and how he was before the bi'tha, before the becoming a prophet. He went to the Ghar Hira. And how he lived while he was poor, and how he lived while the riches came to him, the riches of the Kisra, of the Persian, and then from Rome, they came to him. He was the same, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, how he lived. And that's the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal was haqq, and it will be the haqq. Ibn Qayyim, he said, فَإِذَا جِئْتَ لِلنَّبِيِّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَتَأَمَّلْتَ سِيرَتَهُ مَعَ قَوْمِهِ وَصَبْرَهُ فِي اللَّهِ. If you are to come to the Prophet to discuss and see, and you see and ponder upon the seerah, the biography of the Prophet ﷺ, and how he dealt with these people, and how patient he was for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, and how forbearing was he that to forbear and to persevere against the persecution of his tribe, and all the situation and circumstances there was now, from peace, fear, wealth, poverty, safety, being in his country or his place, Mecca, or being outside of it. and leaving things for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَقَتْلِ أَحْبَابِهِ وَلِيَأَيْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ, and his friends and his beloved one being killed in front of him, and the hurting and the harm of the disbelievers with all the types of persecution and all the types of torturing and actions, magic, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, lying and accusing him of everything that they accused and slandering him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And with that, he was patient, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, calling people to Allah Azza wa Jalla. And there is no prophet that was tortured, or there was no prophet that was tested like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was no prophet. All the prophets were tested, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got all of that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is no one who was more patient than him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there is no one that was given better and more than he was given. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah raised his dhikr, his remembrance. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرًا, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he made him the closest to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أَقْرَبِ الْخَلْقِ إِلَيْهِ, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَأَعْظَمُ, made him the greatest of, and the highest in the position and the rank in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He made him, sallallahu alayhi, give him shafa'ah on the day of the judgment. Why? Because of this. Allah chose him, and because how he dealt with affliction and how he dealt with all the bala in during his life, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَزَادَهُ شَرَفًا وَفَضًّا, he raised him in dignity and favor, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَسَاقَهُ بِهَا إِلَىٰ أَعْلَى الْمَقَامَاتِ, and brought him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah brought him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to the highest of the ranks with that he used to do, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's the best example. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. Indeed, in the perfect Prophet Muhammad has been for you the best role model for the one who believes in Allah Azza wa Jalla and days the judgment, and he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to grant us the happiness in this worldly life and hereafter. That actually, so that what we talked about, which is balance, the person being balanced during the times of ease and the times of affliction, that will be the main focus of the Shaykh in other things to talk, inshallah, to that make the person to reach the means of happiness in dunya and hereafter. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. Allahumma inna nas'aluka اللهم انا نسالك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى وقنا بعفافك عن غناك وقنا بغناك يا رب العالمين. لا اله الا انت سبحانك انا كنا من الظالمين. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك، ويا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوب الابطال. اللهم ارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه، وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم انصر عبادك المستضعفين في غزه وفلسطين، اللهم كن لهم يا رب العالمين ولا تكن عليهم، اللهم انصرهم ولا تنصر عليهم. اللهم عليك باعدائهم، اعداء الدين يا رب العالمين، ومن الصحابه الظالمين. لا اله الا انت سبحانك انا كنا من الظالمين. اللهم ارنا فيهم يوما اسودا، اللهم ارنا فيهم يوما اسودا. اللهم عليك بهم فانهم لا يجوزونك. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وصحبه اجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك واتوب اليك.